All right. You ready?
Yeah.
You want to do this?
Let's go.
All right. This is episode 5. Dude, isn't that pretty sweet?
Yeah.
We're on 5 already.
If you stay consistent with something, it's crazy how quickly things will add up.
Yeah. And this is pretty cool. We're in the new space and it's not even done. Really all that we've got in here so far that's set is this big ass table. It feels nice though.
It does. It's a comfortable table.
Got a little butcher block, got a little wood in here.
Very ergonomic.
Yeah, it's nice.
These chairs are nice too. Yeah, it's all coming together.
Yeah. So I came in and I put these together the other night and got a locker to keep all the stuff stored up. Don't have to transport it anymore. And then I got some more. I actually got curtains in, so I'm going to be putting those up. And then instead of filming this way, where you can see like the backboard and all that stuff, it'll just be like a clean
very cool
background.
Yeah.
So we'll have that, getting some more lighting, doing all this stuff.
It's coming along, man.
I mean,
you really started this not even 2 months ago. And
No.
now this is already episode 5.
Yeah.
And it's already changed leaps and bounds from
I know.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we just
Cool. You've
just
been busy.
Just keep moving. Finished the website today.
Yep. It looks great.
Thanks.
You've been burning the midnight oil.
Yeah, driving myself crazy for
Dude,
a 3-page website.
That website is fantastic.
Thanks, man.
It's killer.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's more professional than I thought that it was going to turn out.
Yeah, you're like, oh, Chris is making a website. This is going to be shitty.
I didn't think it was going to be shitty, but I
Thought it was going to be shittier than that.
Like it looks like you went out and like paid a lot of money to make this website. So that looks good.
I did. I paid myself. I put in a lot of time and dedication.
I guess you kind of did, yeah.
Yeah. So that's really it.
Honestly, how many hours do you think you have in just the website?
That?
Yeah. 40 plus.
Well over that.
Like 100.
Wouldn't be surprised if it's close to 100.
Wow.
Because this is really like the first website that I'm building.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I've built like real basic websites, but nothing like this. So I got like my iPad and I was like the doodles and stuff in there. Like I drew them on my iPad and then I'd send them from my iPad to the computer and then like have them like mesh into like the microphone arm with the cutout and all that stuff.
Yeah, that was cool. That looks awesome. Where it says Cheine, right? Where you have your speakers and your desk.
Yeah.
Set up. Yeah.
So it's like the
Really
speakers and all that stuff. So yeah, probably like 80 hours or something.
That's nuts, man. It's like two work weeks.
Dude, my wife is probably like, thank God he's
That
like,
you're done with this. Yeah. Oh.
And it's only temporary too, because I'm sure it'll change, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You'll have to update it and go with the times.
Yeah. But it's exciting, dude. It's pretty cool. Like it feels like a big accomplishment because I got to certain points where I was doing it and then you realize that it looks terrible on the phone. You're like, finally, it looks perfect here.
Psych.
And then you go check, like you hit the button and go see what it looks like on the phone. And it's like legit, like all the pictures are mashed up and all this stuff. It's like, fuck, dude.
It's got to feel good because now it's officially done. Like you have it done. It's here. It's over with. You don't have to spend any more time for the time being. At least on it.
I can probably go at least like a month without touching this thing. I got to figure out like back end domain stuff. Drives me nuts. Like, dude, I know all these tools. The tools that are out there make it great for building stuff because it makes it easy to actually do it, or it makes it easier. Where somebody like me, I don't know code. I'm not going to go learn code, but like I can go figure out how to like do the Elementor, like whatever the system is, like how to move things around and all that stuff. Like I can learn that. But when it comes to like domains and setting up domains and all that stuff, it's like no matter how simple they try to make it, it is like, it's like reading Chinese kind of. It's like take this address and then put this thing in this thing and then go over here and take this. And then I did 15 steps and I got it mostly right. Now I got to go back and like figure out the remainder of it. But
that's awesome. That's cool.
Whatever, dude. I'm like
80 hours well worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's coming along, man. It's just
awesome. Congrats on the launch and everything. That's very cool.
Thanks, buddy. Cheers. Dude.
Cheers.
Hell yeah. think we can drink in here too.
I was gonna say they have. You mean alcohol?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have. There's a beer fridge out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. And then there's a. When I was getting this tea, there's a coffee, cold coffee.
Like a cold brew press.
Yeah,
or something like that. Cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, cold coffee is supposed to be easier on your stomach. I think less acidic.
Really? Because I don't know. Every time I have cold brew coffee, well, maybe it's easier on your stomach. Every time I have cold brew coffee, I feel like I'm gonna fucking die. My like.
Where do you get it from? Is it though? Do you have get it from the gas station where there's a bunch of sugar in it, or is it just black?
No, it's
coffee.
It's just black coffee. Like, I don't know what it is, but yeah, something about cold brew just
doesn't sit well.
No, it gets my heart fucking racing.
That's
dude.
not good. Yeah.
Yeah, gets my heart racing like. My mom's COVID shot.
Oh, that was bad.
It did. I
forgot about that. Yeah. Is she okay from it?
Yeah, she's all right for the most part, but man, like, still has ongoing stuff from it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting, dude.
Yeah, dude. It's weird. Like, I don't know. I don't want to get like super controversial or anything like that. It's just. Oh, this shit's so weird, man. It really is weird. Like,
and so you just want the best for your family, and you want to make sure that everybody's safe and healthy. And
yeah, and like it's weird because my mom had some shit happen with her heart. My grandma had like Crohn's disease that flared up for the first time in like I don't know 15 years or something like that. Each within a day or two. Yeah. Like it's just like, man, I don't know, like. It's fucking sketchy.
It's a double-edged sword. Yeah, you don't know how to approach it.
No, and the thing that's kind of like I think more than anything, even like I think the thing that bothers me the most about it is there is so much misinformation about it, but also like so many I don't know like agendas or something. It's just weird. Like I don't listen to any like I don't see anybody that's talking about it that. I'm like, wow, they've got some great points about it. It just seems like everything I see, even especially on social media, I'm not super plugged into the news, but like I'll see things on social media that are talking about like mandates, like vaccine mandates, and they're like, yeah, the people not getting it, they're like pieces of shit. That's what they're basically saying.
Dude, I was watching the news. I tried to watch it for a while because I was like, all right, I am probably misinformed or uninformed. So I was like, I'm going to start watching the news a little bit. It's just so negative. Yeah. I just stopped watching. I'd wake up in the morning, have my coffee, watch the news before work, and I just couldn't do it. And I thought to myself, could you imagine if, like, every couple of days, the news was just only positive? Only good things were happening in the world. Do you think people would be interested in that? I don't think they would.
I think they might.
It would be amazing if they were. But I don't know where I saw this, but they were talking about how even if, they launched like this campaign and everything is just shown in a very positive light. They're like, that's information people don't want to hear. I would. I feel like I'd be pumped about that.
Yeah, I think people do want positive things. I know it's like if it bleeds, it leads type thing, and I'm sure that plays a role, but at a certain point, like when does it get to be so much like fucking hate and fear and everything that I think people tune out? Because I think people are listening to podcasts, people are watching YouTube videos. It might just be fucking two fucking idiots sitting in a room talking into microphones that don't know what they're talking about.
But at least we're admitting that we don't know everything that we're talking about, but we're trying to learn. We're trying to
I want to
push our knowledge forward.
I want to talk to people that think differently than I do, but I also want to just talk to them and understand, because like, dude, I don't want to be told constantly that I'm a fucking idiot. Like, I'm really sick of it. And I also don't want to like go back at those people, because you see this is what happens with like the right and the left side. Mm-hmm. It's all like, well, like people, they're clearly super liberal and they get on like, these Snapchat things and they tell everybody they're a piece of shit if they haven't got a vaccine and we should mandate it or stay home, you fucking asshole. And it's like, to me, I'm like, wow, man, like, yo, you're gonna that's not really a great way to do it. And then people, instead of going like, hey, dude, that's not a great way to do it. Some people, like a lot of people go like, fuck you, dude. I'm not doing that shit. Like, you know what? Fuck you, fucking liberal cuck or whatever it is. And it's just like nothing actually moves forward.
Because people get so heated and they see red, and then it's just like, it's just game over.
Conversation's over.
Yeah, and you can't push it farther. Whether if you did, people, probably find some kind of common ground,
dude,
somewhere in there. Not all the time, but somewhere you might be like, oh, you know what? Maybe I agree with those things, or even if you don't agree, maybe you can you understand.
Yeah. Well, you might be one of the best people at this in terms of just like that I've seen, not necessarily like not even like a political way or anything like that, but just like you just talk to the most people that you just get along with them like right away. I mean, like, is there like a method to your madness, or is it just?
No, I don't. I don't feel that, which is strange. But Jenny tells me the same thing. So you get along with everyone. Like, I don't know.
You just do it.
Yeah, I guess just growing up, man, you just want to put yourself in other people's shoes, and I try not to treat people like it's a golden rule. Treat others you want to be treated, I guess. But yeah, I don't know.
Have you just always been that way?
Yeah, I guess. I guess it just happens.
Wow, it's like you do such a cool thing, but you're so fucking stupid. Like, I don't understand how this is possible.
Yeah, I don't know. I do not know. It just happens.
Hey, good for you, dude.
Thanks, man. Yeah, we should. Yeah, I don't know. No, I don't have an answer.
I try to get along with as many people as I can, but I like just going and talking to people is something that I had to like kind of cultivate that over time.
Which is because you kind of do this. You talk to everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's a person that you wouldn't go up to and talk to.
I've talked to pretty much anybody. I'll talk to fucking crazy people.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's honestly it's pretty fun. Like sometimes talking to people when it's like they've got nothing,
it's tough.
That's so tough for me, and I don't like small talk. Like I can't do small talk real well, and I don't understand anything about sports, so I don't.
Me either.
Somebody starts talking to me about that, I'm like, hell yeah, man.
I just come straight out and say it. People start asking me like, hey, do you play fantasy football? Do you do this? Are you into this? I'm like, listen, I don't watch any sports. Like once in a while I watch like some fights, a little bit of UFC. I used to watch like a little bit of hockey, but I don't know anything about sports. Anything.
I don't know shit.
Yeah. And I just have to come out and say it because I can't be the guy that gets too deep into a conversation and then,
Bail.
10 minutes later be like, hey, by the way, yeah. Like,
so yeah. I don't know anything about this. I don't even know where that team is.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I don't know what you've been talking about for the last 10 minutes. I'm sorry to waste your time.
It happens in sales a lot too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Especially like your industry with what kind of sales you were doing.
Yeah.
It's like, those dudes are very much like sports.
With any sales, I feel like you have to just find a common ground.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Maybe that's where I get it. Just find a common ground with people.
That's true. Well, and you got pretty good at sales. Well, I actually want to ask you about that. So when you started out in sales, that was, I don't know, maybe how long ago?
4 years ago.
When you were in like a full-time sales role.
Yeah.
So what was the beginning like, going and talking to these guys and learning, and then where was the actual like clicking point that you started to say like, oh, okay, I've got the hang of this?
Dude, I was terrible at first because you just want to go in and you just want to sell stuff. You want to make your money. You want to sell a product. And then when you realize that that's the end goal, but the more important part is like understanding, the needs of people, and then just being somebody's friend, I feel like is the biggest. That's it.
Really?
You just build trust. Yeah, I know people try to make it a lot more complicated than it is, but I think that's really just to the core of it. Just build trust with people.
Well, I remember this was like 3.5 years ago. I think we were both kind of like you started maybe a year and a half before me doing like direct sales and stuff. I think we were talking about it, and you said like you didn't know shit, so you went and just you went to some guy that you felt was like a trusted advisor type person that was a customer, and we're just like, dude, I'm gonna be honest, I'm a young guy, I don't know anything. What do you need? Like, teach me how to sell to you.
Yeah. I still do that, man. If I don't, I'm like brutally honest with people. Like, hey, listen, I don't understand your business, but I want to. Like, teach me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Does it work?
Yeah. I think with anything like that, just because people try to tiptoe around this stuff, and it's like I genuinely want to understand how things work.
Yeah. Yeah.
With everything that I do, I feel like I'm people probably get annoyed with me because I ask a ton of questions about just anything.
Do you?
Yeah. And I don't always retain it the first time, so I got to ask again.
Yeah. I'm kind of the same way.
Yeah.
I did have that during some sales processes because I do have that as well where I want to understand what they're going through, what actually is the pain point.
Because you stepped up your game quick too, so how was it for you? What was your breaking point where you were like, oh, okay, like this is how I should do this?
It was a lot of it was like a lot of banging my head against the wall. So I think I told this to him yesterday on the podcast, but like the way I got the full-time sales job was that a bunch of salespeople got fired. So they were like, hey, do you want to be a salesperson? And I was like, sure, no problem, I'll do it.
They just threw you in the fire?
Just threw me in the fire. So I started by going through all of like the old deals that were in there and just trying to clear out the pipeline. And like it was like the last guy that was there had stuff given to him by the last lady that was there before that, and then somebody had given her a bunch of shit. So I had like, I don't know, legitimately like 70 deals in Salesforce that were just garbage. And I spent 2 weeks just fucking calling people, doing this stuff like, hey, I'm Chris, I'm just following up, I'm taking over, blah, blah, blah. And I got to a certain point where aside from like one, everything was garbage. So I just had to throw it out and start all over. So I go in, pull up the stuff, like their contact info, because it's just cold calling, really. Yeah. And just banging my head against the wall. I was so fucking nervous to be calling these people. Like, I was like 26 or 27 or something, like calling dudes that are 50, 60, 70 years old who've been in aviation for 20 to 40 years. Like,
longer than you've been alive.
Longer than I've been alive. And like some of these guys I had no business talking to.
How were they when you approached them? Did they give you a hard time?
What do you mean?
Like with your lack of knowledge, could they tell?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how did you combat that?
By kind of doing what you're talking about is just like, look, tell me everything that you can tell me about this. And you find those couple of guys that are willing to help, because those guys are always out there. Mm-hmm. They may have been in the business for 30 plus years and you're not their competition. You just aren't.
Yeah.
They're probably closer to retirement. They're not early 30s or, even early 40s where it's like, some guys like, oh yeah, I'm fucking this total prick to you. Yep. And just like, because they don't have the time. Mm-hmm. But some of those guys, like, they're out there, they'll help you. But I went through a lot where I was traveling all the time, going out, flying out to these places, doing these like road, like basically like on tour, and going out, calling people, doing demos, spending a lot of time like listening to podcasts, listening to audiobooks about it, just like trying to learn as much as I could. And then COVID hit, and that month I had one sale, and I had one sale because I got it at the beginning of March when I was out in California, because a guy just like signed it at the desk, and I was like, oh shit, all right, I'm getting the hang of this. And then I didn't sell anything again for like a full month and a half. And dude,
wow,
calling during COVID was a fucking eye opener. People
for that industry, definitely.
Yeah.
For aviation, yeah.
Because we would call and people would be like, fuck you. Why are you calling me right now? And I was
we're in the middle of a pandemic.
I was like,
how dare you?
I was like, I'm really sorry. Goodbye. Have a good one. Dude, it was bad. But I got a sales coach. So my friend Marissa was like, hey, I work with this guy, and he helps us. Like, you should call him. So I called them and like went through the sales process and everything, his sales process. And he was asking me questions about how I demo and like how I look at sales and all this kind of stuff. And that was like a moment where I was just like, oh, like, I don't know anything.
I don't know what I'm doing.
And I just saw that as an opportunity to be like, dude, how much does this cost? Okay, it's that much. How much are my sales and what are my commissions going to be?
Yeah.
This is worth it. Like,
that's awesome.
And he was like, literally on the phone, like, did you see the sales process that we just went through on that last call? Like how I sold you? I was like, yeah. He's like,
that's wild. That's crazy. Yeah. That's cool.
And that was like a big moment for me where I finally realized like, oh, dude, you got to flip the script. I was always begging people. Like I always felt bad about going in and being like, hey, do you want to look at this? And like doing show and tell when somebody would be like willing to, look at the system, like go through, okay, so here's the main screen. And then if you click this button, it does this. And then if you click this button, it does this and this. And it's just like, man, it was bad and it would push the sales away. And once I learned that from him, and then I would go each time we talk and do these classes, like I'd apply it. And
did you see a difference pretty quick?
Yeah, right away. Within a few weeks, a month at the most.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, what was your turning point?
I mean, shoot, man, it probably was 6 months. Really took off.
Yeah. Is there like a moment?
No.
Yeah.
No, I think I had a couple lucky breaks, and then from there, I think it was just like a confidence thing. Where you're like, oh, okay, all right, like this works. I can do this. And then once you see the stuff kind of start rolling in, then you're like, all right, you're a little bit more confident once you get a few under your belt.
Yeah.
Like anything, like these podcasts.
Yeah.
I feel like we're more comfortable right now already after we've done this third one we've done together.
Yep.
So.
Feels good.
Yeah, a little bit of practice, man, goes a long way.
So let's leave some dead air. Because we're really good at podcasting.
Yes. So good.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, this is a super smooth transition into the next topic that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, perfect.
What are we talking about?
You want to talk about music?
Yeah. What do you want to talk about?
I love music. Like,
fascinating.
I know. So I'm like in no way a musician. I would never consider myself a musician. Like I can keep up with you a little on the guitar.
Yeah.
I can't. I wouldn't say really keep up, but we can jam. We can jam a little bit. But like I love listening to music.
Why?
Like, dude, I don't know. I've met people that just aren't into it.
Isn't it weird when you meet somebody that doesn't listen to music? It's like, yeah, I don't.
Out of all the people in this world, the only people I cannot understand are people that don't enjoy music.
Yeah, you can relate to a lot of people.
I don't care what kind of music it is, man, but like if you don't have some kind of like feeling when you hear like a song that you like or a song that touches you in some kind of way, it's just strange to me.
It is weird. It feels like they're kind of like dead inside.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
So it's like, what? So what do you like to do?
I talked to somebody recently, and it was like we were talking. They're like, I'm not really into music. I'm like, oh, like a certain type of music. Like, no, like I'm not into music. I don't ever listen to it. If it's on, like that's cool, but like I don't listen to certain songs. I don't have any favorite bands. It's just there, which is cool. That's fine, but it's strange to me.
What kind of like, what music did you start listening to when you were like 12 or 13? You know that age when you start actually.
Yes.
Like, when you first hear music that you're like, oh fuck, dude, this is me.
Dude, first I have to give my dad credit, because if it wasn't for my dad, I would be into none of this stuff, and he would just religiously play like classic rock. So I knew that that was there. And then in like the late 90s, I think was when I was like, you kind of like become, I was more 92, so you like kind of become conscious of music.
Yeah.
And the music like wasn't that great that I was listening to. Like my first CD that I bought was Smash Mouth.
Dude, you know,
The one with All Star.
hot take, go back and listen to some Smash Mouth songs. They're fucking good songs. They have some good songs.
Yeah, so that's what's funny. It's like they came out and it was like taboo to listen to Smash Mouth. And then I went back, and now Spotify is just the most amazing thing in the world. I went back and I was like looking at their albums. This was not too long ago, and like their first album was like pretty kick ass. It's like very kind of like ska reggae.
Yeah, didn't they have
deal.
like a lot of like trumpets? And...
Yeah, it was like ska essentially, and then it kind of like went off. But then of course, like all things that go mainstream, they end up sucking. But they built all these hits off of it. But that was like my first album I remember buying, and then I remember having like a Backstreet Boys cassette tape.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, the Millennium one, and I can't name a song on it, but I just remember like having those things. I remember like having them and like not really being into them.
That's a lie.
Maybe the Smash Mouth one a little bit, but the Backstreet Boys, I don't think. It was a cassette tape.
You were
So into it.
You were so into it, dude.
I cannot name you a song. I could have been. I'm sure that I was into it at the time. But then.
Wait, did you have frosted tips?
No, I never had frosted tips. Did you?
No.
Oh, I had friends that had frosted tips.
Yeah.
Dude, they're kind of coming back.
Are they?
I see people. I saw somebody at the gym today with the frosted tips.
Really?
Yeah.
What's wrong with them?
I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, so I started listening to like, not listening to it, but like I had those CDs. It was like, okay, this is like my time. And then I remember like my dad would play like a lot of Led Zeppelin, like Led Zeppelin 2. I was like this is like raw rock and roll. Like this, I love this. I can relate to this.
Yeah, it's like a pure feeling.
Yes. And then I remember like everything else besides like Led Zeppelin, old AC/DC with Bon Scott, and Hendrix was like, that's all I wanted to listen to.
Really?
Yeah, that was it.
So you got big into you're big into Hendrix.
Huge. Yeah, I love Hendrix.
Yeah. It's harder for me to get into it. Not cuz I don't like it, but like there are certain times when I can really get into Hendrix.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
Like when we were at your house that one time and you put on maybe Voodoo Child, which song is like 17 minutes long?
Well, so there's Voodoo Child, and I think it's pronounced Voodoo Child. It's Chile. And that's the long one. I think it's like 10 plus minutes long.
Dude, when we were at your house listening to that was the first time that I actually like listened to Hendrix and I got it. You know, like there's a lot of people that talk about different musicians and classic bands and things like that, and you can't always get it. And that was like maybe the only time where I listened to it and I was like, oh, dude, all right,
I understand this.
I get this. I understand it. Because there's something about it too. I think the cool part about Hendrix that I picked up that day was maybe it's in the recordings or something, but you get transported back to that time. It's a very specific, it's like a time.
You can feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I don't know, it's just like that equipment that they used back then, and that's why I think it's such like a nostalgic thing. Like I never lived, like that was so far before our time, but you can like have some kind of feeling of what it may have been to live back then.
Yeah, it's like a time capsule kind of.
Yeah, we kind of talked about that before, yeah.
Yeah, it's sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like a philosophy.
With like reading like old books and stuff. We talked about in the last podcast.
Well, dude,
same deal.
I mean, some of that stuff, some of those guys, like those artists that were really out there, it is like a philosophy.
You know what's strange too? And you were kind of touching on this, but when you like discover a type of music, it depends like on what point of your life you're in, what age you are, where you are in your life.
Yep.
Because like for me, like I feel like if I listen to Hendrix now, like okay, it would be cool. Like he's an amazing guitar player, but like me, like growing up and having that introduced to me at such a young age, I feel like that's like it will stay with me forever.
Yeah.
Like it'll always have like that spot in my heart where it's like I will go back to these, 10 albums over and over and over again. I'll discover new music. I'm into like a ton of genres of stuff. You know that.
Yeah.
But it's like if I like that, listening to that when I was younger, it just has, it's got that soft spot.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what the first band was that I really loved when I got to that age, but I remember Rise Against. Do you remember them?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Dude, when Rise Against, they had, I'm pretty sure it was Siren Song of the Counterculture.
Yeah, yeah.
That Red album.
Dude, we listened to that on the way to my bachelor party, remember? Yeah.
Yeah, when you went crazy.
Yes. Yeah.
Can we do a detour and talk about that?
Dude, we drove so long.
All right, so we were going up to Nashville for your bachelor party.
We live in Southwest Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we live in Southwest Florida. It's a 14-hour drive on the map.
It's close to that, yeah.
Something like that. And so why are we doing this? Is when we really didn't have like any money around that time. We had some.
No, dude, this was 2017.
2016, 2017.
It would have been 2017 because I got married in 18. So it might have been, it was 18.
I don't know. Anyway, it was I don't know, 3-4 years ago, something like that. And we waited too long to go get tickets, so we looked at the flights like there and back. It was like what, $600 or something.
It was way too much money.
And it was 3 days before we were going up. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I think we rented a car or something.
Yeah, we picked up the car after work. So we picked up the car at like 7-8 o'clock at night
and like started driving
on a Thursday.
Yeah, and we started driving up. So we start driving. We go through like the Atlanta area, all that stuff, and we get up there. It's like we got up there like right around 7:30 in the morning. Dude, Matt, Matt was going fucking out of his mind.
I was exhausted. I was so tired. I must have not have slept the night before much because I just remember like, I don't know if I napped on the way up or what, but you're weird, dude, because you can stay up for like 48 hours straight and have absolutely no problem with your mental state. But I was up at this time for like over 24 hours. Yeah. And it started wearing on me quick.
Yeah, no, I know, because you went into the hotel, and so we get up there at like 7 in the morning, and we go into the hotel. We're like, check-in's not till like 3 in the afternoon or something, and we go in. Matt's like,
we got there like noon. It should have been ready.
No, we got there at like 7:30 in the morning.
I was so out of it, I don't even know.
Yeah, it was 7 or 7:30 in the morning. So we get there, and you like, we're in there talking to the people, and you're like, hey, just checking, is the room ready yet? And then they're like, no, sir, it's going to be a little while. And you're like, oh, okay, well, I'll go to the bathroom. And then you went to the bathroom, and then you come back out, and you're like, excuse me, so is the room ready
I don't think
yet?
I asked him again. I think I asked him more along the lines of, like, how much longer is how much longer is going to be? And I think you were waiting outside.
No, I was there for the first round,
okay.
And they started getting like a little. I mean, they were a little rude about it, but
I'm sure, man, I would have been, if I was in their position, I'd have been like, dude, we told this guy the room's not ready. Tell him to leave us alone.
So we go to a grocery store, get some supplies, and you're losing it at this point. You're in the car, you're just going,
because now it's like 30 hours.
Yeah, now you're like, dude, I don't know. I don't even know what's happening. I don't know. And you just kept saying the same thing. Oh, you're like, dude, I don't know. Like, I'm so tired. I don't even know.
And you know what the craziest part about all this is? When we got the room, we went around town and did some stuff. We went to the guitar store. You bought that sick pedal.
Oh, yeah.
We got back to the hotel. They let us check in. And I was so pumped, and I went to lay down, and I couldn't fall asleep. And you were snoring within like seconds. And I was like, there's no way. There's no way I'm asleep, dude. So I lay there for like 20 minutes, and I was like, I can't fall asleep. So I got up and went to the sauna. And I never slept. I didn't sleep.
You didn't sleep?
I never went to sleep. Everybody showed up at like 5, 6 o'clock, and then we went out that night. I didn't sleep until that night. I know, that's what I'm saying. You fell asleep. I didn't sleep until later that night. So it was like, I was up for a long time.
And we went out like down in the Broadway area and all that
until like
stuff.
2 o'clock in the morning. I can't do that, dude. You're lucky if you give me past 9 o'clock now.
Yeah. You're old man now. You old man.
I'm an old man.
So anyway, when we were young men, Rise Against, that fucking album was awesome. So I don't remember how I got into them, but I remember the album before that, they had a song called Like the Angel.
That's on that album.
No, it's on an album earlier. And my buddy was like, we all kind of played guitar and stuff, you know, and my friend was like the best guitarist out of all of us, and he could play the solo from that song.
Sick.
And that was one of those songs where it's like, you just play it like 100 times over and over again. Dude, I wish they didn't get like all fucking political, because then it was just like a dud. All the music was a dud. The same thing kind of happened to Green Day too, where it's like,
yeah, you're right.
The early stuff is so good, dude. That album was fucking awesome. And then the next few albums
What was it, Sirens
great.
of the Counterculture?
Yeah, Siren Song of the Counterculture.
Yeah, that was a good album.
Yeah.
I remember that summer that came out. I listened to it all summer long. I think it was my 7th grade year going into 8th grade.
Dude, you know what album I listened to in one summer 200-300 times? Stadium Arcadium. By the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Whatever year that came out, it was like 2005 or 6 or something like that.
Probably early 2000s.
I remember I was out in Montauk. I listened to that album nonstop, and it's 2 albums in one, so it's like 20-something songs.
Is Californication on that?
No, California. So Californication was an album from 1999, and that obviously had Californication on it, but this one had like Danny California. You ever like heard like Slow Cheetah or any of those?
Oh
songs?
yeah, Slow Cheetah's sick. Yeah, I know it, you know a Red Hot Chili Peppers song when you hear it.
That's the coolest part about the Chili Peppers. I think they do that maybe better than anybody. Is that half the time you can't understand what he's saying. You don't know what they're talking about, and it could be something obscure, but more than any other band, I think they do the best job of like taking you into the mood of the song. Like
they have their brand. Like that's them.
Yeah. But like when you're listening to them, like you're in the song. Like they just convey the mood so well that you don't have to know what they're singing about or what he's even saying, but if you're actually listening, you feel what is going on in the song.
Yeah. They've had some wild lives. Like Stadium Arcadium, one of their documentaries, like somebody said, "What does that mean?" And they're like, "We don't know. It just sounds good."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they talked about like how they started making that song. It was just like the drummer Chad, he like came in, he just like started laying it down, and then the guitarist just started and then they just wrote a song from that. Like, that's so fucking cool, dude.
Yeah, and then it's a hit. I mean, how many times have me and you sat down and we're like, started writing something, we're like, no.
Hits all the time.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Hit.
Everything we write is a hit. It's gold. Everything we touch.
The intro song we came up with.
Yeah, well,
you came up with the original riff.
A very small part of it.
Yeah.
Well,
you did that with another song that we had when we had Opposite States.
Dude, that other song, whatever, I don't know if you guys have that recorded, but that was a sick song.
We have it recorded, but I don't have access to it. I got to get access to it.
That song is I think that's probably one of your best songs.
Yeah, that was a cool song.
It rocked.
Yeah. Well, and you know, like the riff kind of thing from it, I actually got it. I figured out how to play these notes by learning Whole Lot of Love by Zeppelin. Because at the end of it, he does like, so he does this like just one little thing, and I started like playing with it, and like that helped me make like the first note of an entire bridge, and then just like went from there. I don't even know if it was the same note, but yeah, it was like
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. So it started off with like a rhythm that you wrote, then you and I wrote it, and then I learned that, and I just brought that in. And then when Jake was the drummer, we we just played this thing for like 3 hours, and we came up with this fucking sick little like middle bridge.
I can't even remember how it sounds, but I just remember it being like a great song.
Dude, it came out good. And I only got to hear it in the studio. So maybe we'll do that for the people that are listening to this. I'm putting it on tape. I'll fucking get I'll get the recordings and I'll get that out. I'll put it out on the Cheine Spotify.
That'd be cool. You should.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know, like what other albums did you have that were, I don't know, I guess transformational?
I don't know if it was just like an album per se.
What artists?
Dude, I was into the Who. There's some Who stuff. There's some Who stuff that I absolutely hate, but and this is the thing that I find, like you just said with the earlier bands. Like when I first started playing guitar, all I learned was Green Day songs from Dookie.
Yeah.
Those were all the songs I knew because it's all all power chords.
Yeah.
It's like that album was like, oh, I know this song. I can play this song. This is cool. It's like that was in a way transformative. The Who, I was pretty big into them. They have they have this one album just called The Who, and there's like it's like this big stone that they just all peed on.
Like they're like standing in front of or whatever.
So they peed on that brick, and then they all turned away, and the guy was like, "This would be a sick album cover," and he took a picture, and then they used that as their album cover.
Really?
Legit, yeah, yep. And if you look back,
there's like piss on the stone.
Yeah, they like peed on all four of them, peed on the stone, and then the lead singer turned away. You can see him zipping up his pants still. I didn't know until somebody told me that's what was happening. I was like, oh, this is just like the ruins of somewhere.
Yeah, you pissed on
this would make 4,000
years of civilization.
Yeah, you'd probably get in trouble if you do that now. But back then, just made a great album cover.
Dude, have you ever looked into like some of those like ancient structures and things like that?
Not really.
I haven't looked that much into them, but
yeah.
Like the small stuff that I have learned about them is pretty nuts. Like it does put things in perspective for how long that we've been here.
Like what in particular? Like what do you like Easter Island?
I don't know. Those are those like big faces,
the
or
big
something?
heads
Like,
that they found. There was like a bunch. They found the heads, and then actually below the dirt was actually like a whole body to the statue.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that they started digging and they're like, wow, this isn't just the whole body is underground and just the heads are above ground.
Well, I don't know. I guess it like I really don't know anything about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But you told me to watch that Randall Carlson episode, and he was showing where like the plains used to, like where the coastlines used to be, and then where they are now. And it's like the shelf of Florida, like the continental shelf, had all like it was land, like where you would go out now, where it'd be like kind of shallow water, like even the Gulf and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was land. That wasn't underwater.
And it's just going fast.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
But they think it happened like, I don't know, between like 12,000 and 9,000 years ago. Like it changed real rapidly. So that's why they think
like all of a sudden just.
Yeah. And then I guess I don't understand what these things are, but there's some sort of like asteroidal impact thing that the only thing that can create these types of crystals or something is either like a nuclear explosion or something equivalent, which would be like an asteroid impact. And they have like these records from the like they date it between 9,000 and 12,000 years ago.
That carbon dating, think about the person that came up with this is like, I'm going to figure out how old this is.
Yeah. Like what gets you to think
yeah,
like
how
that?
in the world would anybody even just come up with like, oh, this is from a meteorite hit this area?
I'm glad there's people that are scientists and people that think like
God
that.
bless them, man.
Dude, yeah. Thank God we have.
I look at those people and I'm just like in awe of the abilities that they have. Like Stephen Hawking, I ordered one of his books recently. I don't even know what it's called. It's like the
Lost art for meaning.
It's like about the it's just like like a quick like overcap of like the universe. These people, they're just geniuses.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're born that way or they just read a ton of books, but
that guy was
good thing we have those people here.
Yeah, he's just rolling around the library,
reading everything.
Give me that buck.
Yeah, good for him. Good for us.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, he's not here anymore.
No. I heard that dude was like he got chicks.
Dude, he's like the smartest guy was the smartest guy since Albert Einstein.
Since sliced bread.
Since sliced bread.
Fuck, dude.
I'm sure he did.
Talk about the guy that came up with sliced bread, man.
Yeah, who did that? Oh, we're really going deep.
Stephen Hawking, dude.
If you slice the bread. Whoa.
I think it was Christopher Walken, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Talking to my guy all wrong. It's all the wrong tone.
What was his like big hit? Back to the Future.
Christopher Walken?
Christopher Walken.
No,
I'm sorry. Blast from the Past. He's the dad in Blast from the Past.
Oh,
with Brendan Fraser. What?
Yeah.
Buddy, you got to see Blast from the Past.
The only thing I've seen with Brendan Fraser is the Mummy movies, and then this one movie where
George
I
of
think
the Jungle.
I've seen George of the Jungle, and then the movie where he's in a cartoon or something. I don't know.
Blast from the Past. You really never seen it?
No.
So it takes place in the U.S. I want to say it must have been in the 60s, 50s, 60s.
69, yeah.
Maybe it could have been. It very well could have been. When did we go to space? The 60s?
We might have gone to space in 1969.
Maybe, I don't know, in the 60s somewhere. And they think that we're getting nuked, right? And Brendan Fraser's dad, which is Christopher Walken, he has like this underground bunker, and it's like to the gills, man. Everything you could need. He's got like a school in there. He's got food. He's got everything. He's got a library, everything, washing machines, and they like think that a nuclear bomb is hitting them, but in reality, a plane's just come falling down from the sky. So they go in there and they lock the gate, and his wife's like, "How long till we can get out?" And he's like, 20 years.
Yeah, for like nuclear.
Yeah, for the radiation. And then they end up coming out, and then Brendan Fraser's like was raised underground, and he's like, "What is this world?" It's pretty cool. You should watch it.
Sounds like Bubble Boy. You ever seen that movie?
No, I've never seen Bubble Boy.
Yeah, it's all right.
Well, all right.
Dude. Do you know what kratom is?
Not particularly. I see the kava bars and the kratom bars and stuff, but I don't know.
Yeah, dude. I went in, like, I actually don't really know what it is, but I go in the kava bar over
It's
here.
like a root.
Something.
They like take it and then they like mash it up.
Yeah, but I went in there and that's the nice thing about us doing this podcast is I just like look at shit and I just like, start asking people about stuff.
Yeah.
But they have like a ban. I got to look up more details, but I want to try to have the owners of that place on because they're trying to do like a ban. The FDA and the World Health Organization are trying to do a ban of kratom.
So the kava, is it the place out towards Fort Myers Beach?
They have one there. They got one right down the road.
The same owners?
In Bonita. Yeah.
So what do you know? Like, why would they want to ban it? What does it do?
I don't know. Maybe like people have bad reactions to it or something. I gotta do some research on it. But yeah, it's just weird. Like, especially after being in there, and you know, I've been in there plenty of times. It's kind of like being at a bar. Like bars sell alcohol. People get fucked up on alcohol and do all kinds of stupid shit.
Yeah.
But like, that's not the vibe in there. It's like there seems pretty responsible or whatever the right word is, but like they're pretty, you know, like buttoned up, I guess might be the right word. But, you know, like that would be shitty if the FDA can literally just come in and just say like, hey, you know, bad things have happened to people that had this. So like, your 5 businesses just are going to be shut down now. Like,
that would be awful, man.
Like, I guess it wouldn't shut them down, or it would, like, you know, there might be more recourse.
They can't sell their best-selling product, though.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like, there's a bunch of people that work there. Like a bunch of people from the community go there. They're not like a huge business. I don't think it's just like it's a local business. I don't know.
I want to do more research on it because I'm curious. One of what
Why?
it is, and then two is why ban it.
I get skeptical of all these kinds of things. Like
Skeptical of banning certain substances,
Yeah.
or skeptical of like them working.
no, I get skeptical of like these different groups like banning stuff because you always like wonder where it's coming from, or I don't know, like who's behind it. Why is there? A lot of times, if you look at this shit, it's like
Big pharma.
it's something like that. You know, it's like there's people out there that want to make a lot of money. It's like, dude, I get it. I want to make a lot of money too.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to like stop people from doing that. That's another thing that like I don't know. It gets weird when things get too big. Like I would say I'm more of a capitalist, like especially on a day-to-day basis. But like when companies get too big, when government gets too big, when these groups get like too big or too powerful, like man, they just do like dumb shit, and then you don't really have like recourse for it because they've got all this power. Like there's all these different lobbies and things like that. Like the way a lot of the things work, you know, for big businesses and government is like they pay people to do certain things, vote certain ways, and I don't know. Like I don't know. It makes me I don't know, sad for the world. It's not sad, but it's just like, man, like what part am I playing in that too? Like I don't do anything to try to stop this stuff.
No, man, and that's the thing is that like there are people out there that probably could stop this, but at the cost of what, you know, their bank account.
Could be their bank account.
I mean, that's, I don't know. There's probably lots of different things. You know, where does
when you say bank account, you mean like
just
their job or something like
that?
that?
No, not necessarily that. Just I'm saying like these people that probably could make a difference, but they're not going to give up the dollar for. They're not going to make those decisions because money is in play.
Well, dude, do you think it comes down to us, like regular people, doing it?
Probably.
Because I think we play. This is something that, especially after reading the 4 agreements and going through all this kind of stuff, is one of the big pieces that they talk about is like we do give away our personal power. We give it away to people, and I mean, I think that we do that a lot with all of these things that go on with big companies, with the government getting bigger, all this kind of stuff. Like I was just talking to Steve yesterday, and he had a good point that drives me nuts. But like 40% of all the U.S. currency in circulation was printed in like 2020.
Yeah, I heard that. Is that true?
It is. Isn't
That's
that
kind of
nuts?
scary? Yeah.
So it's like, what role do we play in that as citizens in terms of like,
or
not
what
even like
role do we not play in it?
Yeah. Like what? And is this? At what point do we kind of look at this and say like, dude, I don't want to be a part of this. Like I won't be a part of this. Like I feel like we don't have, like we're not actually represented. Like I look at TV, I look at all of this stuff. Like I don't see anybody in positions of power that like represent who I am. Like I'm a regular dude. I want to work my ass off. I want to have like a good family.
Yeah.
All this kind of stuff. I was a shithead when I was a teenager, but like not that bad.
Yeah.
I'm
a pretty normal guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like what? It's like what are the choices? Like, you know,
there's nobody like yourself representing.
No.
Yeah.
Like not that I can see, and part of my problem too is like I actively tried to avoid this stuff for at least the past year and a half.
Because it puts you in a bad
2
mood
years.
almost. Like it just is a lot of negativity.
What do you mean?
You're saying just getting involved in those things where you would make a difference?
No, like even learning about them.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
You know, well, and I guess I
think
guess
like getting involved in like local politics and like that. I thought you were.
Well, I feel like that might make an actual difference, you know?
Yeah.
But no, it seems like the presidential election is like the only one that matters type thing. I don't know. It's weird. And even like going back to the stuff like you see on Snapchat where it's like don't mean to like harp on it, but like the vaccine mandates and like I'm a piece of shit for like being like, hey, I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm killing your children and your grandmother and you're the biggest piece of shit in the whole world and you should be fucking.
Of course.
Like, well, then, I don't know, euthanize me. Like, fucking, fuck you, dude. Like, I don't know. It's just, I don't even know what my point is with it, but it bothers me because I don't think that a lot of people are trying to do the wrong thing, but I don't feel like that would be the right thing. And when you kind of question all of this stuff, you never get like a great answer in terms of why. It's always like it's just some sort of pressure that's coming from somebody, whether it's coming from your job or social media or your family. I know so many people that's like family is like, you better get this thing or you're not fucking coming to this family gathering.
Oh, it's divided.
It's divided. I love my family.
It's divided people for sure.
Yeah.
The thing about like all this stuff and is like you see it on the news and TV and the media, but if you look at the people around me, there's like a lot of good things happening.
Yeah.
You know? If I had no access to any social media, the world is an amazing place, and there's people are doing all kinds of good in it.
Yeah.
There's like nothing bad in my, and just like my circle, I guess, the things that I deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Are things actually bad? Just I'm playing devil's advocate, but like
I don't. That's actually a good point, and that's something I gotta remember sometimes too. Because when you do start getting into it and start paying attention, you start like, yeah, you're right. Kind of get like wound up into this stuff.
There are bad things happening in the world.
Sure. But
of course.
But that's not what you're saying. It's like there's this world here in social media that's fucking pandemonium, and then there's the regular world where you walk around and people are like, hey, how are you doing?
Yeah. People
are going and doing stuff and all this kind of stuff.
Doing their daily activities, helping people, helping each other out, doing good things for others.
Yeah. And I don't want to fight these people. Like I want to like talk to them and understand what their mindset is.
You're on the front line of it, buddy. You have a podcast now.
That's true. I guess I just got to find these people and talk to them.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see if they're willing to talk to me about this stuff. Because, like, I don't want to, like, dude, I hate the trapping shit. Like, when people, like, trap people and they're like, well, what did you mean by that? Like, I'm not going to do any of that shit. Like, I don't want to do any of that stuff. But I do want to talk to people because, like, looking at some of this stuff and then comparing it to the real limited stuff I know about history, this stuff seems not great. Like, it seems like it's a real slippery slope because the thing that bothers me about it too is the scenario, right? And the words that get used and the names that I get called for like not wanting to capitulate to this stuff and then seeing like the double speak. It's like the 1984 type shit, like the double speak is really madness because everything that we get told by like these different groups is it's one thing, and then 2 months later, it's entirely different. Then 2 months later, it's back to the same thing. And then if you're still doing the same thing from 2 months ago, you're the fucking devil, and you should be doing this. And it's constantly changing, and we keep getting promised stuff. Like, all right, dude, stay in your houses for 2 weeks. We're going to go back. We're going to flatten this thing. We're going to go back to normal. It even stayed that way for 2 months. I could have been like, dude, I get it. We don't fucking know what's going to happen with this. Yeah. And then it was stay in your house for an indefinite amount of time. Like, okay, like go wear these masks. We'll slow this thing down. Go the proper way in the fucking grocery store aisle.
Oh, I forgot there's arrows.
There was the arrows.
Forgot about
and
that.
All this stuff. And then the vaccine comes out and a lot of people get it, and it was kind of promised as like, hey, get this so we can go back to normal. And a lot of people got it. So it was like, hey, we can go back to normal. And then now it's like unvaccinated people are like the problem, but everybody's getting COVID again with the new strand. So you got to lock back down. Like they're talking about lockdowns.
They're doing a third shot.
Yeah.
If you got Moderna or Pfizer, you have to get it. You don't have to, but I don't know. But they're talking about
a booster. Or something.
Booster in this fall. Yeah.
So it's like,
what's the right answer?
It's like what is the right answer? But my problem is I keep seeing this like motion forward, right? Like people follow the rules, people try to do the right thing. Nobody wants to fucking kill kids. Nobody wants to kill their grandparents. Yep. Nobody wants to be a bad person. Nobody wants to get called out in public for like being sick and like coughing on somebody. Like at this point, if I'm not feeling good, I don't fucking go to these places. I try to avoid it where I can. Yeah. But like, I just keep seeing everything moving further and further and further along where people follow and they try to do the right thing and they follow the rules, and the rules literally change right in front of them. And then when people question it, it's like, don't fucking question this, dude. And it's like, why? Why can't I fucking question this? Like, I dude, I'm not a scientist. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, a vaccine is fucking this and melt your brain, dude. I don't know. And it's, for a lot of people, it's totally fine. I know a few people that have gotten it. 2 of them I am direct descendants of that had fucking horrible reactions. Yeah. Pretty sure I already had COVID in 2019.
Yeah, you and Rebecca were sick, man.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah, and she had respiratory issues for 3 months, starting in January.
That long after it, wow.
Because I went to Vegas, and I went to go, like, I was at a boardroom of this, like, company. They have, like, businesses in Vegas and China, and I go to shake this guy's hand. And they're like, oh, you don't want to shake his hand, dude. He just got back from China. He's got some sort of nasty bug. And I was like, oh, all right. And that was...
No way.
That was December 3rd, 2019.
This is before you got sick?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Like,
I didn't know that.
Weeks before I got sick. So I tested positive for the flu, so I may have just gotten the flu. Rebecca got tested, all kinds of shit, and they're like, you literally have nothing. So,
and it was before, like,
it was before all
a
this.
Little bit before, yeah. And then all of a sudden it came out, and you're like, maybe that's what I had.
So my thought is like, dude, again, I'm not a fucking scientist, so I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Caveat, whatever, so people don't get pissed. But like, if I already probably had it or was totally around it and I was okay, I was kind of like but didn't really work out for a couple months. Like, I just felt like shit. Not good. It's a serious thing. Like, if you get it, it could be fucking deadly. But if I had it and I was okay, my group is like, the chances of dying are like 0.0,
very small
or something,
unless
like
you have
that.
Some kind of underlying.
Exactly. Yeah, stupidity is not an underlying condition. So, like,
thank God, or else you've been in trouble.
I'd have been dead already, dude. And so, like, if that's the reaction that I would have, or I could get a shot that like really fucked up people that I'm directly related to. Yeah. And then I talked to another guy who I was like, dude, how come you haven't been rolling lately? And he's like, oh, they're not sure if it's from this, but, like a couple days after I got the shot, I started having all these like lung and chest issues, and I found out now I'm anemic, so I can't come, like do jujitsu. Or
he became anemic from having COVID?
No, from after getting
the vaccine.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, like 3 days later or something like that. Yeah. Where he's like, yeah, my mom had this when she was pregnant with my brother. So it's like, it may have been like an underlying thing in their family, but like, dude, that guy can't do jujitsu. He can't do kickboxing for at least 6 months. Cause if he does and something happens, he could rupture an organ internally and bleed out.
Yeah. Cause anemic is like when your blood's more thin than what it would typically be in a cane clot.
Yeah, dude. That's fucking scary, man. Like those prospects to
Very
me,
scary.
like with my family, directions, like
Yeah.
to me, it's like, man, I have this situation, and then I hear people that want to say like, dude, if you don't get this shot, like you shouldn't be allowed to leave your house. It's like
Scary.
This is the group, that's kind of in power. And I'm really thankful we're down here in Florida, because a lot of people like don't really give a fuck. And I was trying to explain this to people in Nashville when I went up for the podcast movement, but I was like, because people would be like, "Oh, dude, you're from Florida." Like, "Oh man, it must have been nuts." And like they weren't rude about it, but like people would say like stuff like that, and I would explain like, "Yeah, dude, we were down here, but the news was saying like Florida's on fire, dude. People are dying left and right." Like, and even when I was calling customers in California and stuff, they'd be like, "Dude, what's going on? Like, are you okay? Is everything okay?" And I was like, "Dude, we're all right." Like, I think everybody in Florida, maybe there's a couple there's hot spots maybe in Miami and Tampa, but I think for the most part, a lot of people were like looking around like
trying to figure out where those hot spots were, because there wasn't a lot by us.
I
had friends and family calling me from, the Midwest. "Hey man, is everything okay? How's everybody? Is everything shut down?" I'm like, everything's like, it's not fine, but it's not anywhere near the situation that the news is making it out to be.
Yeah. Well, and this is like the divisive side of that stuff that I don't like. And I think what you're even saying too, it goes to like the conversations that you have with people.
Yeah.
Like I talk to people all the time that probably, if I explained this, they might hate me or dislike me, but maybe if they like just listen to my reasoning, they'd be like, "Wow, that's somewhat reasonable."
Yeah.
Like I can appreciate that. Like, and I understand why people get it too. Like you've got priorities, you've got shit you got to do. Like you got to secure income. Like your job wants you to do it, you got to do it. If your family wants you to do it in order to go to like a wedding or something like that, like,
to travel anywhere.
I get it. It's not like a judgment of it, but I guess my only judgment is like, at what point do we start going, "Hey, like when are you going to uphold your end of the bargain?" Like the leadership that's pointing us and telling us where we're supposed to go and all this kind of stuff, and what is safe, what's not safe, and shut down. If you don't have this, you can't travel internationally. Some places, even in New York, they're talking about like you can't go to grocery stores or something if you have it.
Yeah, I think you can't go to the movies. There's certain things, unless you have your vaccination card, you can't proceed to go into these places. Yeah,
dude, that shit's scary
for sure.
And it's under the guise of like doing the right thing and trying to help people out, but like when you give that power away, maybe the people there are fine right now, but like there's like
1984.
There's 1984, but dude, like we have famous villains of history that seized power that was able to be seized. Fucking Hitler, Stalin, Mao, like these, like Lenin, even before Stalin, is like, this stuff didn't come because like, people had like a strong sense of individuality and things were like in a great condition, and everybody went like, "Yeah, man, I want to just give up all my freedoms and like, yeah, we should start these factories and just like fucking
just
build ovens and shit." Nobody was thinking that. A lot of people didn't even know that the fucking Nazis were doing that shit. But look, I don't know if things are going to turn to Nazis. That's not what I'm even saying, but it's scary, man. Like if you listen to just a little bit of history podcasts, you read a little bit of history books, like things are not as secure and paths are not as like fixated as we think they are. We go to jobs, we work these 9 to 5s. You know, a lot of shit is convenient for us. We go to grocery stores, our food's there.
Very convenient.
We go to gas station, gas is there. It's like
that's why people don't complain, is because things in America are so convenient. Why stray away from those things?
Yeah.
You know, it's too easy to just do that stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like I worry about that stuff. That's that's the side of things that I worry about. And I don't think it's like a overnight type thing. You know, I don't think we're in as bad of a shape as like 1918 Russia or something like that.
I don't think you're alone in thinking that. I think there's a lot of people that probably have that same view.
Hit me up on Instagram.
It's one of those things, man. I just am so and misinformed about everything. I like have trouble forming any kind of opinions on anything of like those matters.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have any kind of source of news or information that you can readily rely on or trust?
No, I don't think so. I mean, as bad as it sounds, man, word of mouth, probably even worse than social media sometimes, because that's all probably coming from, from social media. So no, there's not really. I'm so out of touch with all of it that it's probably not a good thing, but
I think so. Like I listen to Joe Rogan and some of these other podcasts and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
as you can fucking tell by the mimicking
all of it.
But they have different people. Like he's got different people on that talk about all kinds of stuff, and they give like really good insight. But that long form, you can really kind of hear what people are talking about and kind of vet it out a little bit. But there's these two people like Crystal and Sagar. Have you ever heard of them?
Mm-mm.
I'll probably start listening to them. Rebecca started listening to them, but it's kind of like news, but not from these big corporations. So I think the guy's on the right, the girl's on the left. So it's like a little bit more balanced, I think. And like I'll start listening to that. But that was probably the biggest thing that made me start going and looking at like Stoic philosophy, Four Agreements, all this kind of stuff, because I felt like during COVID, I couldn't trust anybody. I didn't trust the news before, but it was always like, all right, you kind of listen and then hear what they say, and then that's probably like 50 to 70% of the truth, and then there's a 30% spin on it. For Fox News has one spin, CNN has another, MSNBC is
all
like,
a little different.
Yeah, it's like fucking somewhere else. But like, you have all these things, and I never trusted any of them. And then when COVID happened, it was like, everyone's the other side's the fucking devil.
Just a
Republicans should be fucking killed in the streets. These liberals are destroying the country. Like, it was like there was nothing. So I ended up I was like, let me turn to ancient wisdom instead of trying to find it today.
That's cool.
You know?
Well, the great thing about like the Stoicism and philosophy is that it makes you not worry about any of that stuff. And while maybe it's not great in today's day and age to be more, I know people always say, be proactive. Sometimes I think it's okay to be reactive to those things, but it all depends on how you react. And that's all philosophy and Stoicism is about, reacting with a calm state of mind, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
And being at peace with yourself and the situations around you. But at the same time, is that a bad thing because you're not taking action to change things for the better?
No, that's what I ask myself a lot, is like I try to find these, I don't know, solace in stuff, and just try to not be swayed by it. But at what point do you take that? And I think the main thing is to integrate it, is not to be above it, I think like by us doing this thing, it's like I think this is like an actual integration of some of these like principles and stuff that we're learning about. Because I mean, you look at Marcus Aurelius, the guy fucking ruled Rome. That wasn't some like armchair scholar that said something. The guy ran stuff.
Yeah.
You know, he was like a military guy, and yeah, listening to some of the things that he talked about, it was very much the same as today. Do you think that's something that we get fixated on too? Is like, oh, like I heard myself say this many times in the past, and you know, it's just like, oh man, it's just like different these days, or something these days, or whatever these days, or the world's gone crazy these days, or in the past few whatever. But when you read stuff like that, it's like the world has always been crazy. And I think I'm finally getting into the point where it's like I'm really actually getting into the mix.
Yeah. Dude, think about, people say, oh, it's crazy. These days are crazy. These things that are going on are just nuts. Like, we're never going to recover. This is the new normal. Do you think people that lived through like World War I and World War II and Vietnam and like just like these crazy like wars that we've had, nuts. Do you think that they were like, oh, this is the new normal. This is how things are now? There's no way. They're like, this is going to suck for a while. We're going to have to push through. We're going to have to persevere. And then on the other side of this, like, you know, we'll get through it together. And I think that's with like everything going on right now. I think that's the way that we need to view it.
Dude, and I think that's the only way forward, is that approach is like,
it's like these days are no different from like all those other days that have happened hundreds and thousands, however long ago.
And we think this is bad, dude. I always think about this, and I told you this, and I tell some people, well, I'm about to say it on the show, but like I tell some people this, but if you listen to like the Dan Carlin Hardcore History, where he talks about World War I, I think about this every time I'm being a little fucking bitch. Every single time. The World War I I think it was in Verdun, that war was the first war where they really used a lot of artillery, like a shitload of artillery, to the point where they would bomb these different places so bad that it looked like the moon, like it was like a bunch of real deep craters and all this stuff. It was also the first war where they used mustard gas. Oh. So they would send out this mustard gas, and then it would end up settling in these trenches. So like these like trenches were full of water, full of like poisonous water, like mustard gas water. And this wasn't even the front line. So these guys, in order to march, they would have like these super heavy packs, like, I don't know, 60 to 100 pound packs that they'd have on their back. And they'd be walking along the top of these ridges to get to the front lines. And sometimes those guys would fall and slip into this crater poison water with 100-pound bag strapped to them and fucking drown in poison water. These guys were 16, 17, 18, 20, 23, younger than us. Fucking kids, dude. We were dumb as shit, like, at that time. Yeah. 10 years ago, dumb as fuck. And these guys were out there doing that stuff. Not even to be in the fight where they would go over the front lines and get gunned down almost immediately, or they'd have to run over barbed wire, whatever it might be. Just on the way to the fucking battlefield at night, they would slip and fall and drown in poison water. Dude. And I always think about that when I'm like, I don't want to do this right now. It's like, people have gone through so much worse shit than almost any of us. And people go through worse shit all over the world than a lot of us do. And we complain like this is like the worst thing. I was just literally complaining about this the past 10 to 20 minutes, how this is no good. But that was 100 years ago. On December 11th, 2018, I happened to be in Sarasota. I went and got coffee. I don't know why, but downtown, I looked at the newspaper and it said 100-year anniversary of the armistice. And I was like, oh my God, dude. 100 years ago was when like one of the bloodiest wars in human history ended. Like millions of people died. It was the first war that entire like civilizations, entire countries, like the people of those countries. It was the first war where the entire country really like got involved.
Yeah.
And regular citizens were fucking mowed down and stuff. And like that was not that long ago. And
no, the scheme of like, the world, that's not 100 years is nothing.
no. And I don't even know what my point was with all this stuff, but
I think it was about how we complain about small things in our daily life. In reality, most people probably have had, a lot harder times than.
Yeah. So I don't know. I try to think about that. It helps me keep things in perspective.
Dude, that's nuts. Absolute balls of steel, those guys.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
You see that movie 1917?
No, I want to see it though. Was it awesome?
It was awesome.
Yeah,
Man.
I want to see that.
It was awesome. And it was, look, I don't know how accurate it was, but it was like based on everything that I've listened to about World War I or read or anything.
Yeah.
It seemed pretty accurate. It might have just been like a more, these particular series of events were a little more dramatized, but like, I don't know, dude. It was like pretty legit. And the cool thing about it is obviously not the whole thing was shot in one shot, but it's made to look like one
That's cool.
shot. So you're like with them as they go from this one trench
into the next,
and through these like this like field.
I want to see it. I absolutely want to see it.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. I don't watch movies that often.
Yeah, you're not a movie guy.
No, I fucking love movies when I watch them, but I don't watch movies that often.
I like to think that I am, but Jenny would probably tell you different, that I'll start a movie and watch about 10 minutes of it, and then I cannot sit still.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know. I can't. Unless it's like right off the bat, like going, I'm like, nope.
I'm out.
Or if I'm like,
it's kind of how I am too.
yeah.
Even with shows and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
Game of Thrones is probably really one of the only shows that I've ever
So good, dude.
like watched the whole thing and like did not miss.
Are they coming out with a new Game of Thrones?
I don't know. No idea. You know what? I was like, I was almost like ashamed that I actually I like the show is Downton Abbey.
Oh, dude, I could not get into it.
I didn't sit down to watch it, but my wife's been watching it for.
Yes, you have.
My wife has been watching it, and she watches it, but it's honestly
a lull. It drags.
But there's some stuff that's pretty funny. And I actually watch it. I'll usually watch it peripherally. So like she'll be watching it. I'll come downstairs. I'll be like going to like pass by, and then it's like 10 minutes later. I'm like,
I did the exact same thing. I didn't watch it myself, but Jenny did, and it's the same deal. It was in passing. Sat down and watched a little bit, and I found out that all she was doing is just watching people cook and have conversations for endless, like for it was like 2 weeks. I think she watched the show, maybe longer. It's a long show.
Yeah.
But I guess people would be watching us right now talk, so maybe, maybe there's something to Downton Abbey.
Maybe you're the fucking idiot. Dude, my neck is still fucked up from when I was in Nashville.
What'd you do?
So at this hotel,
Jiu-jitsu?
No, dude, at this hotel, there is like an indoor water park that's there, and they have one of those wave rider machines. And I was like, dude, I'm doing this at some point before I leave. So I go in there, like I go by myself, and it's like one of those wave machines where it's, it's like the water like blasts at you, and it's like almost like a wrestling mat that like goes up like this.
It's like a hard mat though.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep.
And so
you come in from the side.
Yeah. Dude, and so like I'm watching all these like kids go and these like their parents and stuff, and it's like kind of like 5 minutes, like each person gets like 5 minutes. So I go there and I go by myself, and I'm waiting in this line. I end up waiting an hour and 40 minutes for this thing. And the lady before me is the first person to do like the stand-up one, like the surfboard one. Everybody else was doing the boogie board. So I try it. I like go the first time, and I'm going, and like the lady's holding my hands, like bounce back, like off the thing, and I'm like this, and like I'm looking down, and like I swear, like, in my head, because I'm just looking down, I'm like, oh, I'm for sure, like this thing fucking for sure pushed me like to the top, and I'm up here, and then I go like this, and I look. And literally the water, like the spout where the water comes out is still right here. I had not moved at all. And I swore I moved 20 feet. And
because the water's it's blasting out of there.
It's blasting. But I was so fucking disoriented that like, it was just one of those things, you know, where you go like this. And then all of a sudden you just start turning and you go like, well, here comes the fall. Here comes the fall. Wait for the fall. Boom.
Yes.
Fucking fall. The next time I go, same thing, except I go like this and I fucking fall. Boom. Smash my fucking face into the floor mat and go like this, and it shoots me back.
Dude, doesn't it just launch you up that thing?
Yeah. Launched me back up the thing. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna be fucked up from that. But let me try it one more time. I go, fall right away. And then you can tell like the girl that was like the lifeguard thing was like ready to be done. I was like, can I do one boogie board? She's like, I'll let you do one for just the time, you know, like just to do it. So I did it. That was cool. And then I fucking fell, and then I just got out of there. Dude, I waited an hour and 40 minutes in line for like
bust your face.
3 minutes to fucking break my neck. And the whole thing too, one of the worst parts about it was I was there by myself, and it's just like a bunch of fucking kids around. So I'm like actively standing there trying not to look like a pedophile.
Yeah.
Like you're like, okay, yeah, all right.
I'm going to try this little surf.
Yeah, I'm just here for the little surf thing. And, you know, like, it's just, fuck, I called my wife. I was like fucking pissed afterwards. I was like, can't believe I waited an hour and 40 fucking minutes. Go in there and break my fucking neck.
Isn't it crazy how, like, little kids are so good at that stuff?
Yeah.
We went to Jersey one year. Maybe it wasn't Jersey. It was somewhere, man. We went, and I just saw these kids like ripping on these surfboards, and I'm like, we were in Costa Rica, same deal. These little kids just absolutely tearing up like on skimboards and stuff. And I'm like, why can't I like we learn that quick on stuff?
Yeah,
they're just, I don't know if it's their center of balance. They just don't weigh much, so the waves they can just glide right across them. I don't know what it is.
Well, and if they're like smaller too and they're learning it, they can fall and it's okay, and then they can kind of figure it out. But once you get bigger and you fall, dude, I remember I skateboarded a lot. You did your little fucking rollerblades.
Rollerblades, way cooler than skateboarding.
Yeah, dude, that's sick. So I remember like once I got to be in my 20s, falling sucked, dude. I was at the Naples skate park, and it was like sunset. I was like, all right, this is my last run. I was in one of the bowls, and there's like a part of it that like goes out and then in and then back out, and I did it, and I like hit it a certain way where I like was sideways. I'm 5 feet in there and sideways, maybe, I don't know, 5-6 feet in there, and I go around this thing, and it like kind of stops, and I just fall, and boom, like on my hip from the top, just straight like on my hip, dude. I like couldn't fucking walk for 5 minutes. Like I like hobbled out of the thing, and like I threw my board up and just like threw my arms up and just.
When was this?
8 years ago or something. 7 years ago or something.
I have a similar story. So I went out there less than 2 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, with my skates, and I get out there, and I'm the only person on skates, and it's been a while, because I mean at this time probably been 5 years since I'd put my skates on. Wow. And I put them on, and I go out there, and I start doing a few easy tricks on the rails and the ground. There's a couple boxes. I hit a couple tabletops. I'm like, all right, I'm feeling pretty comfortable. I'm gonna go to the bowl, do a couple of tricks on the bowl, and then I see that there's two large bowls, and then there's one almost like a cement parking block. You know what I'm talking about? That goes across. It kind of combines the two bowls. Yes. So within me being there for 20, 25 minutes and not skating for 5 years, I said, I'm going to launch out of this bowl. And
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
yes.
so I was like, I'm gonna like launch out, and I launched out, and I was like, and I'm gonna grind across this. I'm gonna go into the other bowl, and like some of the kids are watching me because I'm getting myself all amped up because I'm like, I used to be able to do this stuff, and I get up there and I launch out of the one bowl and I land onto the what you would call a cement parking block. And in that cement parking block were large divots. Dude, I clipped my skates on that divot and I went probably 12 feet into the other bowl, fell. It just stuck and I just went right down. Yeah. And it hurt. And I haven't skated since then. It was brutal.
Dude, when I was in Orlando, when I was living up there, I went to the skate park and I tried to do something like fancy and like launch off something like that too.
Yeah.
I landed straight on my knee and my vision went white for probably 3 to 5 full seconds.
Side of your head?
I hit my knee. Yeah, I hit my knee. Like I was in the air and I landed right on my knee and my vision went white for like a few solid seconds.
How was your knee after that?
I think I still have like a scrape on it.
Oh.
I think I still have like my skin is like a different color there. But for a couple full seconds, I was like, I'm blind, dude.
You freaked out?
I just lost my vision. What the fuck am I gonna do? And then like it slowly started coming back. But those are a scary couple seconds.
Dude, skating it's like if you get into it, man, and you start doing it, you don't have pads like you could wear pads and a helmet, but
was skating, did you start skating right around the same time that you started actually getting into music?
Yep. I was playing t-ball, and the coach of the team and I ended up becoming good friends with this kid.
Yeah, you became really good friends. Like,
yeah,
you go over his house all the time.
Yeah,
and like
exactly.
It was like
skate.
Dad would give you massages and stuff like that.
Oh my God. So after t-ball one day, he's like, "Hey, we're gonna go to the skate park. Do you want to go?" And I was like, "What's the skate park?" I had to have been 10 years old, and I was like, he's like the skate park. There's ramps and stuff. I was like, "Sure, I'll bring my bike because I don't have skates. I don't have a skateboarder this time." So I go there, dude, and I'm just in awe. It's like another world.
Right.
There's in our skate park where I'm from, it was like the hot thing going on. They just built it. They opened it up. The people that used to own the skate shop there, like, put a bunch of money into it. Beautiful skate park. And I remember just like being such a small kid, the ramp seeming so big. And he had a pair of skates and he ended up having like an extra pair. So I put them on and I ate shit all over that skate park for about 6 hours. The sun went down, man. I mean, we stayed out there all night. And I remember just being like, I don't care about baseball anymore. I just want to go to the skate park. And it was like every day after practice, we were like, skate park.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the next like 10 years, I lived at not the whole full 10 years, but the first probably 5 years of that, dude, I lived at that skate park. And then I got into street skating and stuff. But yes, the music and that culture, it was like the same time. So it all kind of, combined together.
Dude, that was when it started for us too. So I think I started skateboarding in Montauk. So I'd go out to Montauk every summer. We'd kind of live out there and then come back.
Yeah.
So I started learning out there, and they have this awesome skate park. It's like a cement skate park, and like you go down, there's like banks on both sides. So one top half is like everything starts here, and then there's a bunch of stuff that is down here, right? I don't know if that makes sense, but you start up here, there's like a bank you can go down, or you can go down like a double half pipe with a spine.
It was all cement park?
All cement.
Yeah.
So you can do that. And then if you go down the bank, you can go up another bank, and there was like a pool, like a big in-ground pool over there, or along that was like a long quarter pipe. And then you can go around it and go down this like big ass quarter pipe with like a cement box. And that's where I learned how to skate. And that first day I went, fall, you just go down the bank, fall, try to drop in, fall, do this. And it was on cement too. And they're like 5-foot drop-ins or something like that. And didn't feel good when I fell, but man, once I figured out how to drop in and all that stuff, that was one of the best fucking feelings ever.
Good, yep.
But then my friends and I would start skating like in front of their houses, and we started building like rails with like fence posts.
Yes.
Just like,
think about how
let's
creative.
wax the shit out of this fence post.
Did you have the golf wax, the big blocks?
Yeah. So we would have these like makeshift ramps, makeshift rails, all this stuff, busting up shins. But that was the time when we were also like listening to Blink 182,
yes,
like Rise Against, all these different bands, Motion City Soundtrack, all this different stuff. Man, that was great times. But all of those people, at least that I skated with and stuff, for the most part, like they all kind of grew up to be like fairly unique people, you know?
Yeah, the people I know, very artistic, creative. You know,
no, they weren't autistic.
No, artistic. You know, I was thinking too when you said that, how much respect, I guess, or you learn to respect people out of the skate park.
Yeah.
Like no matter like if they were on a bike or if they were on a skateboard, on skates.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember always being like up on this ramp as a kid, you got the older kids like just tearing it up, like know what they're doing. And you'd have to, like, back then when the skateboard opened, there would be 100 people there. You know, now if you would show up there, you know, at 5 p.m, you might catch a couple people there. It's not like it used to be. But you'd be on this ramp. We used to have a mini half pipe, had a spine in it. I remember like waiting to go, you know, and then it was just like the unwritten rule. It's like, all right, dude, they give you the nod. All right, it's your turn.
Yep.
You know, and everybody got a turn, you know. Once in a while, you get the one kid that would just be like, go and go and go and go. But I always said that was cool.
Yeah.
That just because you're out there, you were like part of a family, and they were like, hey, let him go. You know, it's your turn. All right, everybody gets a chance.
Yeah.
And anytime, you know, anybody would do like a huge trick, you know, you give them props, and
Yes.
It's a cool place, man.
It is. I think jiu-jitsu is probably the closest thing that I can think of now as an adult that's somewhat like that.
Yeah.
Just a community kind of weird ass people.
Yeah.
You know?
Because anybody can do it.
Anybody can do it.
It doesn't matter if you're 100 pounds or 500 pounds or.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it, man.
Yeah. They're like, it's like regular people, but they're definitely weird.
Yeah.
You know? So
it's a different subculture.
Yeah, for sure. I love it, dude. It helps me think, and I didn't do it for like a month because of starting this stuff. Then I kind of have a hernia, and then I went on that business trip, and you just kind of fall out of doing it. But then once you go back, all the things that you build up in your head beforehand of like, oh man, this is gonna suck because I'm gonna be really tired and out of shape and all this stuff. And then you go back, you're like, fuck, dude, like what was I complaining about?
How much do you know about jiu-jitsu, like the history of it? Do you know a lot?
Not that much. I did watch. So like I watched the Choke documentary. So Hickson Gracie went on Joe Rogan. He was talking about this breathing thing.
Rickson?
Yeah, but it's Hickson.
Oh,
so I guess
he's the founder, the grandfather, right? Like pretty much invented jiu-jitsu. Is that wrong?
No. So he's part of like the Gracie family.
Yeah.
I don't know the whole lineage, but I think his dad was one of the earliest people.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But I guess he was like the best for forever. You know, it was like one of the greats or something like that. But yeah, like I always just heard about it, but I never knew that much.
Mm-hmm.
Then I listened to him talk, and then I went and watched a documentary, and I was fucking fired up, dude. I literally paused the documentary halfway through, and I was like, Rebecca, I'm going to fucking Corkscrew Park, and I'm going to run up the hill, and then a fucking squall came through. Legit, as I put my shoes on, I was like, I'm going in the garage, and I just started like doing all kinds of this weird ass workout type thing that he does in the documentary. I was like, fucking fired up, man.
Is that the one you were telling me about? Something that he does with his breathing?
Yeah, so he talks about it in like the episode, but it's like breathing, like he kind of, the way he put it sounds counterintuitive, but I tried it and it helped a lot. So it's like breathing into your stomach, but focusing on breathing the air out instead of breathing the air in. So instead of being like, it's like you focus on like the because he's like, your body knows to inhale, but if you just like teach your body to like breathe into your stomach, but then you focus on getting like the bad air out, it helps. And I was doing that when I was working out. Dude, I don't know what it is, but I felt so much like.
And what's it? So the purpose of it is to push the bad air, like the carbon.
Yeah.
Or
carbon dioxide or what, I guess, whatever it is, out of your body. And then you feel you like breathe into your stomach more. Cause when you like breathe into your chest, there's like still like kind of like a tightness. Like you've got your.
Dude. Yeah.
But if you breathe into your stomach, it's
so
like.
I've heard that that's how humans are supposed to breathe. But for some reason, when you breathe, like when you chest breathe, that's bad. So like if you look at a baby breathe, their chest doesn't move.
Really?
Do you know that? Yeah.
No.
It's wild. Somebody told me that. I think the doctor. My daughter was born. I remember talking to her about, because I ask 1,000 questions. And of course, I was asking 1,000 questions when I was at the pediatrician.
Yeah. How do I not kill this baby?
Exactly. Yeah. More or less along those lines. And I was talking about something, and that's when they said, like, if you watch a baby breathe, they breathe with their stomach.
Whoa.
And then somewhere along the lines, we end up breathing, with your chest, but it's better to breathe with your belly.
Whoa.
I don't know anything about it, but I just thought that was an interesting.
And I tried it when singing too. And it's weird because it like short circuited some of the nervousness of singing. So like I get real nervous when I go to
probably because you're so lightheaded you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, so like I was breathing while I was singing, and I just woke up on the floor, and like I was not nervous about not having sung those notes right.
Yeah.
But like I get nervous about going to hit the high notes because like my voice will crack and all this kind of shit. But like part of like breathing into my stomach while I'm singing, like it alleviate, like it just, I don't know what it is, but it like brought my voice out of this area, which is kind of like tighter, and then you're like you're like struggling more to like get the notes out.
Yeah.
But like when I was breathing from here, it's almost like I had there's a bigger section of area for my voice to like rattle around inside me maybe, and
so
then
strange
come out.
I
don't know what.
Try to imagine doing it.
Yeah, you just kind of got to do it. So like what I did is I was doing that breathing like the for like, I don't know, half hour straight.
What?
Yeah, just like getting that feel for it so I could figure out how to do it on its own, right?
Yeah.
Where you're not really doing other things. You might be listening to something, but just like you forget to do it in 15 seconds. You just like forget and you go back and it's like, oh, reminder. Okay. And I just did that for like a half hour so I can learn how to do it on its own. And then I started doing it while I was like working out. And then I tried to do it while I was singing and all, and like then I went and did it while I was like running and doing these like hill sprint things.
And you could see a significant difference just learn like doing it after the first day.
Yeah, because it's not like it made me so much more, like my stamina was so much better, but a lot of the reason why I give up on stuff is because like I start getting foggy headed, and if you're sending that oxygen to your brain while you're doing it and you're getting more oxygen in and like, whatever the buildup is, carbon dioxide, I guess, or whatever else it is. But like by pushing that out, you have like a more mental clarity. So you can kind of get to that. You kind of can keep yourself off of that thought of like, fuck it, I'm done, dude. I don't need to do this anymore. Like I'm pretty tired. And then you get back in your car and you start driving. 5 minutes later, you're like, dude, I feel fine. Like if I just waited or did whatever, I would have been fine, but I just wanted to like give up. And it helped me shorten that period of time where you have that like total mental fog.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, like I know that if I stop right now, I'm just bitching out. This isn't an issue of being tired, So it's kind of cool.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, like change my mindset on like working out.
So are you trying to is the purpose to change your breathing like that, or just like that's how you're going to breathe?
I'm going to try.
Or is it just like when you do strenuous activities or when you're doing
I'm going to try to, but I forget. just forget. You just go back to
Your
what
body,
I've been doing.
your body's never gonna forget to breathe. So
yeah,
you're good.
Yeah, but I forget like to do that kind of breathing. I just go
Yeah.
back to regular breathing. So
That's interesting, man.
yeah, it's and I think that's kind of too what when these like when yoga and meditation when they're talking about like pay attention to the breath. You know, you just hear that like breath work or like pay attention to your breath.
Anything,
just don't worry.
Lifting
focus
weights
on
too.
your,
Just
focus on your
breathing.
breath. Like I started doing that, but because I was trying kind of changing the way that I did it, and it helped a lot. Like it takes all of that peripheral shit that is like bouncing off of my head all the time, and it just kind of goes like puts it back here instead of like right here where you can kind of see it. Just like puts it back here.
Wow.
You know, it's still there. It's just it doesn't have the daunting aspects.
That's wild.
You know, when shit's just bouncing off your head.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
like stress. You're saying like stress and things, just like things you're thinking about from the day.
Yeah. Or things that I've got to do coming up. Try it. Listen to that episode. Listen to the episode because it helps.
Who was it on, Rogan?
Yeah.
All right. I will.
Listen to that. And it's actually really cool to hear him talk about jujitsu and all that kind of stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, dude. And, so I guess let's kind of wrap this up, but
we talked about a lot of stuff today.
We did.
Yeah.
This was fun.
Yeah, it was.
I think we're getting in the
yeah. I think each time I think it's a little bit better.
Yeah. But so part of this too is like going on other people's podcasts and getting them to come on here. So there's one service that I signed up for. It's called Pod Inbox. Mm-hmm. And I'll show it to you after this. I think I sent you something so you can be an admin. But I signed up for it. I met the guy at Podcast Movement. And basically what it is, it's like people can leave voicemails for us on like for the show. So you go to like podinbox.com/Cheine.
Yeah.
And you can leave voicemails there. And then we can actually leave like voicemails back. But then we can take like the voicemails that they leave. We can download them, put them on the show. We can, we can also share them on social media and stuff like that. So like, yeah, if anybody's listening that wants to, leave a message, ask a question, all that kind of stuff, like that would be fucking awesome.
How would they get to it?
So you go to podinbox.com.
Okay.
/Cheine on. Yeah. So you can go there, and then I'm gonna interview the guy. His name's Pat. He's really cool guy, and I listened to him on another podcast called Run, Thrive, Survive. All
right.
So she interviewed him about just starting this whole thing, and he talks about like creator economy and turning it into something like Patreon and things like that. So yeah, it's actually pretty cool. Like it's one of those things that I'm actually pretty excited about. I hope people actually go on and look at it.
Yeah.
And leave us stuff because it'd be awesome. Cool to.
Yeah. They can leave anything, right? Anything they want to talk about or us talk about or questions they have. That's amazing.
Yeah. We really, really strongly prefer no racial slurs on there. That would definitely be, I would strongly recommend against that. We'll probably delete them.
Yes.
But, yeah, if you want to say pretty much anything else besides that, yeah, we're all right with that.
Cool.
But yeah. So as always, part of this is all of this is for Cheine Productions. If you want a podcast that's kind of like this, and you're in the Bonita, Southwest Florida area, and you want to have a professional studio, hit me up. CheineProductions.com. Website just went live today.
Nice.
Should we show it on here?
I think you should. Can you put it on the screen? Yeah, give them a quick view of it.
So let's reload this bad boy. So you got this. Got a little fucking doodle. Yeah, so I don't know. This is probably not very exciting podcasting, but proud of it. And then you can go in, see the pricing, all that kind of stuff. Check it out on mobile. It's real nice. So that's it. That's it. You got anything else?
No, man. No, I think we got a few good weeks ahead of us. So
yeah,
excited to see what's gonna happen next. But no, man, nothing right now.
Oh yeah. All right, dude.
All right, bro.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Nice.
Nice.